Okay, system landscape. We are discussing about the system landscape, nothing but servers. Recently, they are using cloud servers, but previously they are using one servers. So in one system, they will divide that to development client and quality client and production client. So development is used for purely for configuration purpose. So if the business want to create one purchase order scenario, they want to separate number range for that purchase orders for some kind of vendors. In that case, we need to do some development. In development system, we have two clients. One is a golden client, another one is a testing client. In golden client, we will test we will configure everything. After that, we will move the TR to that development client to testing that scenario. Whatever we configure, it should work in development. If it is if we satisfied with the development server, we will move that changes to the quality server. Okay. In that quality server, we will test as a functional consultant. We will test that one. After that, we will take help of the business that we call as a UAT, user acceptance tester. So business will test same scenario in that EQ1 testing system. We call it as EQ1. After that, they will approve. Once they approve, that changes will be moved to production. For all this, we need the documentation is required. For depends on the company.
Okay.
So this is a system landscape, a development server. In the development server, we have two clients. One is a golden client, another one is one is a test client. The golden client is for only purely for configuration, but there is no master data. So in test client, we have master data. Master data is nothing but the material master, vendor master. Vendor is the supplier. So all master data is maintained in the test client. Once the configuration is done in a golden client, we will move that changes to the test client. So as a consultant, our duty is to test that everything, the scenario is working or not in test client. If we satisfied now, we will move the TR. Everything will be transported to the TR, transport request. Whenever you do some configurations, the TR will generate automatically. The TR we will use for moving to production quality. So everything will be recorded in SAP. You cannot simply change that in a production directly. Okay. So after that, we will move that changes to the testing. Initially, we will test the scenario in testing. After that, we will inform that business to test that scenario. So they will test and they will document it and they will approve by mail. Once they approve the mail, no, we will move that changes to the production server. After moving the production server, also we need to do some kind of smoke test. We call it as a smoke tester. Actually, we don't create any sales order, purchase order, production for testing. Just simply, we will check all the configurations are moved to production or not. After that, we will inform the business all the changes moved to PR1. Please try to do your business scenario. If anything, we need to check again. Okay. Everything will move by TR, transport request number. This is about the system landscape. You need to keep concentration on your mind. Any interview, they will ask you, what is your current system landscape? You have to tell one is the development system, quality system, and production system. They will ask client number also, client 200, client 100. Current company, I am working for Thermo Fisher Scientific, American company, global company actually. Working for entity, entity will pay money and they will outsourcing to the client is a Thermo Fisher client. So they are using client for golden client, they are using 200 client. Once you get into SAP, did you see any SAP screens previously or no?
I'm sorry, what is it? I'm
SAP,
sorry, what?
SAP screens.
The
software, SAP software.
Yeah, like I have seen the SAP modules, like the MM and the
Okay,
PP
this
modules.
is actually I am connecting to my company server. Actually, this is not legal, but okay, I can connect, not an issue. This is my personal computer. So first we will connect to Salt Secure VPN.
Okay.
Like that we will connect. So once this connected, now we will able to connect to that SAP. But you can send your mail to the Raviraj, that group, and you can ask that SAP GUID installation guide, and they provide that SAP user ID and password. Okay, this is my company, client company. But you need more practice from your end. A lot of practice. Too many questions they will ask interview. First interview it is okay. Second interview, third interview you have to face it all.
Okay.
Demand in US, this SAP.
Yeah.
This is a big company. We are working client all over the world. They have branches. Currently, I'm working for a China project. So
Yeah, I have heard of Thermo Fisher here in US.
too many requirements for this company also. Yes. If we practice well, we will try to pull you. If it is any openings, not an issue.
Okay.
That depends on your work. Because you are going as a experienced person, so you need to know all the details. Once you join in, you can Google it, and we will take a lot of help from Google. Googling. We can't remind T codes and everything, no.
Yeah.
So meantime, this will log in. So this is the organized structure. First one is that something has happened. Security is not, this personal computer is not allowing. Okay. So as of now, we discussed about that system landscape. You are clear about the system landscape, no?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
clear.
So after that, the first lesson in the material management is that organized structure. Okay. So for any company, if you want to register with government, you need to provide some levels, CEO, managing director, and that board of director. Like that, we need to do some paperwork, and we need to create, and we need to register company. Like that, in SAP also, we have one organized structure. We can call as an enterprise structure also. Okay. So first one is the company. After that, a company code. In one company, we may have different company codes. Suppose if you see my client Thermo Fisher is a company, and each country have that company codes. They have each company, they're maintaining company code as a country. Each country has one company code. For India, they are using 2040 as a company code. For Malaysia, they have 2880. Singapore, they have 2930. They have different company codes. Okay. Under the company code, we will create as a plants. So as a consultant, we don't create company code. Okay. In practice, we can create company code now, but in real time, if they interview, they will ask you, did you created any company or company code? No, we cannot create. Finance team, FICO, the finance and controlling FICO, we call it as a FICO, okay?
Yep.
The module that people will create the company and company code. After that, our as a functional controller, functional controller, we start with plant, okay? So plant is after the plant, we have storage locations. In one plant, we may have 10 storage location, 20 storage location, depends on the business of that company. After that, we have one purchaser. Every company needs some purchase organization to procure the material, okay? So we have purchase organization, purchase group. This is about that enterprise structure, okay?
Okay.
So enterprise is nothing but the different organization elements: company code, plant, storage location, purchase organization. If it is a warehouse, warehouse will come under the storage location. Okay.
Got it.
So now we are entering into the overview of material management. So if any company, if you want to manufacture any product, suppose fan or bottle or anything, you need some raw materials. You need some machine. So to procure the raw material, we need the one purchasing department. Suppose I am working as a production manager in that company, but I don't have authorization to buy everything from outside. I do only production activities. So purchasing activities, one purchasing department will be there, what we call as a purchasing organization. In that purchase organization, we have purchasing manager, purchasing clerks. So many, depends on company, they will divide a procurement team. They will create one procurement team in purchase organization. So to procure the materials, we need to create purchase requisition, purchase orders. Sometimes we may have to create contracts like that. So material management deals with managing the materials, products or services. Sometimes we may have to buy materials. Sometimes we may have to procure services also. Suppose you are buying a water filter from some company, they will service, no? That will come under the services. Okay.
Yeah.
So material management deals with managing the materials of the resources of an organization with the aim of increasing productivity. Without this SAP also, they can procure the materials. But advantage of SAP is that suppose the company is there in US, that plant is there in India. So the management want to see what are the stock available in the material. So in one T code, they will enter, they can check everything. In SAP, we can call as each thing a T code, transaction code level. Huh?
Yeah.
So the 4-digit one is the transaction code, the standard ones. Based on that one, we will see that all the details.
Okay.
So business process in SAP is termed as a module. Suppose MM is a one module, SD is a sales module, FICO is a finance and controlling module. Like that, ABAP is there. Over 20, 30 modules is there. More than 30 modules there in SAP. But as a procurement consultant, we will deal with the finance, sales. Sales means outbound deliveries. As a MM consultant, we need to take care of SD also. Not for entire SD. Sometimes the sales order will create with the materials. Some issues in the material master data. In that case, that team will send that incident to the MM consultant. So we have to deal with finance team, SD team. PP means procurement, production planning. QM means a quality management. PM is a plant management. So these are all interrelated with material management. Okay.
What is PS?
PS is a project systems.
Okay.
So suppose you are working as a telephone towers. Suppose India in Airtel is there, no? Airtel Idea. So they will install everywhere the towers, the cell towers. So that they will create as a one project. So in that project, if you enter that project, they will structure breakdown process. The WBS is there, work breakdown structure. So that in that depends on that company, we have to create that PS model is required or not required. But any company that MM is required, FICO is required. If it is a sales process is there, SD is required. These are the core modules. Okay. If you are manufacturing something in your product company, you need PP module. So like that, they will decide. Initially, they will start with FICO, any company. After that, they will implement MM, PP, SD like that.
Yeah.
So procurement, the interview question, first interview question, system landscape. Next is the procurement process flow. P2P process, we call as a P2P, procure to pay process. MM means procure to pay process, okay? First one is the determination of requirements. So what is the determination of requirements? Suppose I am working in a manufacturing company. So I am working as a production worker. So I need some material to manufacture some product. So as a production worker, I will mention that indent. In a general language, we call it as indent. If the company is not into SAP, they will create some other Excel work or some MS Word work. So they will create one indent. So and so I need some 10 screws, 10 bolts like that. So that paper will be forwarded to the purchasing department. In this procurement process, that starts with a purchase requisition. In SAP, we call it as a purchase requisition. Okay. So this purchase requisition is created by end users. End user means I am working in a production floor. So I need some materials. In that case, I will create one purchase requisition. I will have access to create the purchase requisition. So SAP is only limited authorization. They will provide. If I am working for a end user, they will give you only authorization for some T codes, not for all. Like that, they can control. Basis and securities team will control that authorizations. So determination of requirements come from the end users. So in that SAP, we will call as a purchase requisition. So once the purchase requisition is created by end user, and this will be forwarded to the purchasing department. Okay. Can I slow down or is it okay?
No, it's fine.
So once the purchase requisition is created, that will be forwarded to the purchasing department. The purchasing department activity is to purchase that material. So they will inquire that material in the market, where that material is available and who will the supplier. So that we call as a source determination. Okay. Source means suppliers.
Yeah.
So after that, if they find the 10 vendors is there, in the 10 vendors, that purchase requisition will be converted into request for quotation. RFQ, we call it as a RFQ. So purchasing department will convert the PR into RFQ. That request for quotation is having all the details, material, quantity, when the material is required, without the price. Okay. We don't know the price, no. First, we will send that RFQ to the suppliers. The supplier will check that details. If that material is available with that supplier, they will contact by mail or by phone, and they will tell, yes, this material is available with me. This is a so and so rate. So once the material prices is received from the supplier, the purchasing department will enter that price in RFQ. So that RFQ becomes that quotation. Once you enter the price in the RFQ, that becomes the quotation. When we go the real-time practice, I will show you how to create RFQ, and how to create a quotation, how to create purchase request. First, we will configure everything and we will test the scenarios. So after that, vendors will supply that price and everything will be completed RFQ. So once we received RFQ from quotation from that suppliers, suppose I have received 10 quotations from 10 suppliers. So after that, purchasing department will decide which vendor is reasonable. Actually, SAP will suggest to pick lowest price quotation. So, but based on that supplying, some factories will take care of that. Some suppliers will need immediate payment, down payment. Some suppliers will give some 30 days, 40 days like that. Based on that one, purchasing department will select the vendor and they will create the purchase order. Okay.
It like the vendor selection will also depend on the lead time, right?
Yeah, lead time and history. They will check that supplier history also. Sometimes
Okay.
they will send regularly before that they don't ask payment. So they will consider all the things, but SAP consider only lowest price.
Okay.
So we have one T code. After the receiving the quotation, we will enter that T code. When you enter the T code, all the details will come. 10 suppliers, whatever they provided the rates, no, the SAP will show that lowest price one. But real time, they don't consider that one. They will consider a lot of things. Uh, they have to wait for sometimes payment and everything, and packing quality and supplying quality they will take care. So after that, they will, once they receive quotation from supplier, they will select that vendor and they will create the purchase order. RFQ and purchase request are internal documents, okay, not a legal document. The purchase request is an internal document. RFQ is an external document, but that is not a legal document. They don't send the materials with reference to RFQ. So to buy the material, we need to create the purchase order. Okay. To create the purchase order, we have one transaction code ME21N. So you need to remember the T codes also. Sometimes they will ask T codes also, transaction codes. Once you practice every day, no, you will get in a mind. So this T code is for this one. This T code is for this one.
Okay.
So purchase order will be created by purchasing department based on that RFQ. Some businesses don't use RFQ. Current this business I am working for client, no, they are not using RFQ technology. Directly PR is generated from business. Automatically the purchase order will generate. The configuration steps is there, automatic purchase order. So system will create automatically purchase order and they will go for approval process. So once they create a purchase order, no, based on that business, we need to create that approval process. We call it the release procedure in SAP. I created purchase order. So without that release, I cannot send out to the vendor. So some level of approval require management levels. So once I create the PO, that will be triggered on my manager's mail. So he will check the mail, and if he will check that all the items is reasonable or not, required or not, he will approve. He will release that PO. Once the PO is released, no, automatically this will go to that by email communication to the supplier. That we call as output determination of purchase order. Okay. So output determination is nothing but a PO output. We will see that whatever we enter in a system, we can print that PDF copy, we can download in a system, and we can send it to the supplier by mail. Otherwise, we can configure automatic email triggering also. So once you save that PO, no, once you release, it will directly go to that customer supplier mailbox. So he will check that all the purchase order details. He will call or he will communicate. So and so materials is available with me. When you want, actually everything will be there. Delivery date, price, and everything will be updated in that purchase order. So they will communicate again. So and so date I am forwarding these materials. Okay. So after that PO creation, we will forward that copy to that supplier. After that, we will follow up. Suppose today I have created purchase order. By within a week, within 2 weeks, we have to follow up with supplier. We need to discuss with him. how he is packing the material, how he is sending his own freight or other. If company is having our freight, we will send that truck to them. They will load that material into the truck. So after that PO follow-up, material will supplied by the supplier to our premises. So once we receive the material against the purchase order, first thing is to unload the material. Once truck it comes into our area, no, the material will be unloaded. So once unloading the material, the truck driver bring all the materials, all the details, paperwork. So invoice copy from that supplier, our purchase reference copy from supplier, all the details is available in our SAP system. So after unloading the material, we will go to the system and we will enter the transaction MyGo for goods receipt purpose. So we will try to enter the P1 number. All the details will be displayed there. Whatever the materials we received physically, we will select that materials and we will perform the goods receipt. Okay. Once you do goods receipt, that inventory, we call as inventory in SAP, that will be updated in SAP system. So that means once you done the goods receipt, stocks is available with us in company.
Yep.
So after that invoice verification, whatever the material we are received from supplier, no, we need to pay money for them. For that one, the customer will send that bill with supplier name. That bill we need to enter in SAP. For that one, we have one transaction Myro. Okay. So that when you enter the Myro, we will give the purchase order reference number. After the goods receipt, Myro details will come in that invoice. We will create our invoice in our SAP system with all the details. After that, the payment processing. That real-time payment processing we don't care. That finance team will take care of payment processing. In some businesses, up to goods receipt only consultant duty. Invoice verification also done by the finance team. But as a consultant, we should know of the invoice verification configurations and invoice transactions also. Based on that business clients, it will depends. Sometimes the finance team will take care of invoice verification. Sometimes team will take care of. This is about the procure to pay process. You have to go and search in a Google P2P process. If you read 5 lines, no, you will keep 2 lines in your mind. Okay.
Yeah.
First thing is the determination of requirement. You have to explain your own way. They will impress you.
Yeah.
If you digest, no, if you read something articles in a Googling or something notes, if you digest fully, you will explain 90% or say 70%. So you have to tell politely. You have to take my because you are going into market as an experienced guy. Basically, we are studying in Telugu medium. We are troubling with the English problem. Okay, but if you get work, English is not a matter. Communication is important because we need to deal with the businesses, no, business users. Sometimes now currently I am working with China user. China user, some team members they don't speak English. They will explain that project manager all the details in Chinese language. This project manager will explain to us requirements. Everything will be documented.
Okay.
Okay. Now the procure to pay process means determination of requirements, source determination, vendor selection, purchase order processing, purchase order follow-up, goods receipt, invoice verification. Last step you can tell as a payment processing also P2P, but some businesses will take care by finance team. You have to tell like that.
Got it.
So this is a procurement cycle. You have to buy out what are the steps, 8 steps. Determination of requirements. You go deep into Google and you can read about the more.
Okay, sure.
So after that, first one is the enterprise structure. After that, we have master data for transaction data in SAP. Okay. Before creating purchase order, we need some data in SAP system. So that we call as a master data. Master data means a material master. Material means parts. Whenever you are working some companies, no, they will produce some materials. So that we call as a materials. That we create as a material master data. So millions of materials is there in my company currently. 2, 3, 4, 5 millions materials is there. Like that, we need to create the master data. So they have separate team master data. If you are working as a small company, you have to take off master data, transaction data, and inventory management and invoice for everything you have to work. If you work for a bigger companies, no, if suppose you are working for Accenture, no, Accenture, they will provide you, they will take you for only creation of purchase order, only creation of purchase request, like that. Depends on company. Suppose if you are working a small company, they will tell you do everything, entire they want work. Okay. So in SAP we have master data and transactional data. So in master data we have material master, vendor master, source list, purchasing info record, quota arrangement and service master. So far in my 11 years career, I did not work for quota arrangement. This is a rare subject, quota arrangement. So nobody go for quota arrangement. So material master, vendor master, source list, purchasing info record, this is common. If your company is providing services, we need to create service master also. So, yeah, tell me.
So you're talking about the material master, right? So that's the data of the materials which the company uses for its production, right?
Correct, yeah. Suppose today you have created 1,000 materials. Tomorrow you decided to buy one new material. So in that case, they will create, master data team will create the new material by using transaction MM01.
Yeah.
If you want to create mass, we have transaction LSMW. We can create thousands of material from Excel. All the material details will be updated in Excel. In one shot, that will be updated by in a system LSMW. That also you should know that.
Okay.
For single material, we will use MM01. Okay. For vendor master, for SD people, they will create customer master. For MM people, we require supplier. No, we call as a vendor master. For this one, we have one transaction called XK01. We will create with that transaction. Source list, we can control the vendors. Source list, when we go to the deep into SAP, we will discuss about this all deeply. Okay. So,
thank you.
So master data, purchasing data, and transactional data. Okay. So in purchasing data, we have internal document and external document. Just now we discovered about the purchase request. No? That is an internal document. That is not a legal document. That is an internal document. External document means purchase orders, contracts, and schedule agreements. So purchase order is a legal document. We can purchasing department will create the purchase order with reference to purchase request or with reference to RFQ. Otherwise, we can create with reference to old purchase order also. Otherwise, we can directly create without any reference by entering the vendor, material, and the quantity. So this is called as a legal document. And contract and schedule agreement is there. So contract is a long-term agreement between the supplier and the purchasing department. So suppose every day we are buying some steel, Tata Steel. So in that case, we will make agreement with that supplier for 1 year so and so rate, and this much quantity I required. So whenever you require, you have to create purchase order with reference to that contract. So in interview also, what they will ask you, what is the contract, what is the purchase order, what is the purchase request. So you have to know all these things.
Okay.
So internal document is a purchase request, and external document of request for quotation, purchase order, contract, and schedule agreement. RFQ also external document. They don't send materials with RFQ. So purchase order is required to buy the material. So in purchase orders, we have so many types. Normal purchase order, standard purchase order, framework purchase orders, subcontracting purchase order. Sometimes you have production unit in your factory, but you are not able to pick up that demand and supply. In that case, what we will do, we will supply the material to another subcontracting vendor. They will produce that products and they will send back to us. That we call as a subcontracting purchase order in SAP. So in that case, we will send all the materials, raw materials. They will manufacture and they will charge for only labor charges. And third-party purchase order. Sometimes our customers will require the materials without bringing into our location. We will send from supplier to customer directly. We will create third-party purchase order. In that third-party purchase order, we will enter that all the sales order details. Customer details will be there. Customer address will be there. Our supplier will send that material directly to that customer. And consignment purchase orders. In some cases, what will happen now? We no need to pay money, but we can get the material from the supplier by using the consignment purchase order. Whenever we are sending that materials, selling that material, we have to pay that money to that our supplier. That we call as a consignment purchaser. Suppose MRF tires is there in India, so the product they will send all the tires to that retailers without providing taking any money. Suppose they will send 100 tires today. The shop people will take that all the stocks, and that stock belongs to that company only, MRF only. Whenever they are selling that tires, no, every 10 days, every 1 month, they will do the transactions with company. They will pay that money to that supplier that we call as a consignment. And stock transfer order. Suppose my company is having two different plants. One is in India, one is in Singapore. Sometimes Singapore team require the material from that India, so that we call as stock transfer or purchase order. Internal transfer. So once you created all these purchase orders, we need to take the goods receipt for that purchase orders. No, we need to update in our system. We call as a goods receipt. So goods issues means we are selling some items with reference to sales order. In that case, we need to issue goods with reference to sales order to the customers. And sometimes we need to issue goods to the production facilities. Different movement types is there in SAP. To receive 101 movement type, to send 601 for sales order, to send customer cost center 201, like that. We can transfer posting also is there. From suppose you have in one plant 2 locations is there, so we can transfer the stock from one storage location to one storage location, other storage location, like that. We have transfer posting, transfer, all this is there. So we can perform goods receipt against purchase orders, and purchase order is external document and legal document. And if it is a production activity is there in your company, we have to do goods receipt against production order. Suppose you have supplied the material against the production order, raw materials, and they manufacture the finished product. That finished product we need to update in our inventory. In that case, we will do goods receipt against production order. Suppose your company is since 20 years, now they are implementing SAP. So that stock we call as a legacy stock. So that legacy stock we need to bring into SAP. In that case, we will use some other movement type, 561 movement type. We will upload mass upload. Already they have 1 million materials, so we cannot create each material, each stock one by one. For that one, we will use LSMW program for mass upload. Bigger companies, they have separate team for master data upload and this inventory upload. If you are working for small company now, you should know all these steps, how to do stocks. Next one is once the stocks is in, we need to sell the material to the sales order customers, and we need to issue the production order. Like that, we need to issue goods issues. Goods receipt and goods issues comes under inventory management.
Okay.
Once you receive goods, you have to pay money to that supplier. No, that we call as invoice verification in SAP. So supplier will send invoice with their name and everything. So and so material supplied with this rate. That same thing we will enter in SAP by reference to the purchase order. So in invoice verification, we have two types. One is a Miro one-time entry. If you want to park that invoice, we have to create MIR7 is the transaction code. We will enter all the vendor details in that MIR7. After that, our manager will check that details and they will approve. That two-step process. One step, a single step MIRO, two-step is a MIR7. Okay. Sometimes after creating invoice also we need to block the invoice in some conditions. So sometimes we have to do debit memo, credit memo. These all under comes invoice verification. This is the last chapter in our training. Okay. First one is that enterprise structure creation. After that, we will create the master data, material master, vendor master, source list, info record. So after that, we will create the purchase requisition. We will configure and we will create purchase requisition, RFQ, purchase orders. So after that, we will do inventory management, goods receipt. Once goods receipt is done, the stocks is available with us, we will do goods issues. And stock transfers we will do from plant to plant, from storage location to storage location. After that, invoice verification is the last one. Okay, so what you understood from my explanation? If you want to slow down from tomorrow, from Monday, I will slow down a little bit. If it is okay,
No, the pace is okay. And like, yeah, I understood like all the
I will share
major
some
steps.
documentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I have one document. I will share that configuration step. Meantime, you go that one. From today or tomorrow, you can ask that Raviraj to provide that SAP server details.
Yeah, sure. I'll just
This
send
we
him an
got.
email.
Yeah, this is the SAP GI. This system is slow today. So you have to download that SAP GI front end. You will
Okay.
provide user ID and password also.
Okay.
So from Monday we will go to 2 hours deep. I will tell you 2 hours, but you have to practice 6 hours, 8 hours, more than that. This we call as a SAP logon pad. All this is server available servers. This is a PR1 is a production, D1 is a development, ES1 is a sandbox. Suppose I am not sure the business requirement is satisfied. I can it will work in SAPR. In that case, what we will do, we will gather all the requirements from business, and we will do some testing in sandbox. That is a rough system. Sandbox means you can do anything. You can delete, you can edit, you can create. No one will ask you. That we call as a sandbox. You can tell in a system landscape, sandbox also.
Okay.
Okay. So we have so many systems here. So from Monday, we will start in real time creating our enterprise structure and what is the client, what is company core, everything we will discuss. So meantime,
Okay.
you can go through this Googling what is enterprise structure, what is system landscape. You can prepare
Yeah.
notes, you can prepare MS Word or anything. If interviewer will ask, no, you have to tell as a 9 years experience guy. One of my friend in 10 years back story, we learned one
Okay.
SAP in 1 month only, 30 days in Apsiguda. So one of my friend and I joined in that company as an institute. I used to work in a Balanagar. I used to attend class in the evening 8:30 on the way to my home. So, but that guy is resigned from pharma company and he dedicated in a, he used to come at 9 o'clock in institute. Up to evening 9, he used to stay in institute. Actually, class will be started at 8:30 only, 8:30. But he will come in the morning and he will practice F1, F1. If you go inside that system, we have all the details. What is material? What is that units of measure? Everything will be available for function keys. We have on F1 key. We have to press. He used to read everything. So he attended first time with fake experience. Accenture. He got the Accenture job. Previously, they used to take 45 minutes interview. So
Okay.
the interview is immediately selected for single round.
Okay.
He went through 3 years fake experience, but he did not doubted
Yeah, I
because
got it. Got it.
he explained
Because
everything.
yeah.
That's what I am telling. Once you get the system now and googling it, and you can go. Everything will be available in SAP only. What is material? What is vendor? If you go a function, if you press a function key, you will get all the details. So my suggestion is to practice more,
Yeah.
because we
Sure.
are entering into the market as an experienced person.
Yeah. That's right.
So they will think all the work will be associated with you. So from
Yeah.
Monday we will connect with 9 o'clock. Okay, Varun.
Yeah. Sure. That works.
So
Thank you so
meantime,
much.
I will send this PPT and I have some configuration document prepared in my first company. My first company is ITI and Solution, that was in IT Amirpeta. So he has given life into SAP. 3.5 years I worked as a less money for. He has given genuine work, and actually I am a mechanical engineer. I passed out in '93. I worked in
Okay.
Canada 5 years. I worked in London, but in a mechanical field. So 2008 I came from Canada. My work permit was expired, so I returned to India. After that I joined in Balanagar. So that life is very hard compared to Canadian life and India
Yeah.
life.
That's
When I work in a Balanagar, no, too hot, and the management
yeah.
also not polite. I used to work under German management in Canada. 5 years I was there in EMX Enterprise warehouse. I used to print the sales orders, and I will give to that sales order to that picking guys. Once the picking is done, I need to enter in a system. We need to create the deliveries, no? Once the sales order is there. So I used to do that activities. So one of my friend is suggested to go for MM. So I learned it in 1 month in 2011. After that, I joined in ITI and I worked in 3.5 years. After that, I joined in a TCS. I worked 2 years in TCS. After that, I worked 6 months in Accenture also. I used to work for a Dangote, a sugar and salt industry, Nigerian project. Actually, that work was nice, but they asked to go to Nigeria. I'm not interested. That time very dangerous in Nigeria. So I rejected, and again I joined in a Saudi-based company. I was in Saudi Arabia also 2 years. From Hyderabad-based company, I went there. Now from entity data, I'm working since 3 years. We are working for client is a Thermo Fisher. So as of now, everything is going fine. So my suggestion is to practice more. You can Google it and you can write, you can record, or you can write somewhere in a MS Word, or you can write in a notepad or something.
Okay.
Okay, we will meet in one Monday. Meantime, you can take access to SAP GUI and user ID and credentials. So once we once we enter into the system, we will know everything.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.